Hey y'all, what's going on? It's Athena Amoeba, and this is an update video for week 18, digging back into weeks 14 through 18, actually just a little bit because it's been a couple of pretty crazy weeks for me. Crazy and awesome, difficult and amazing. So first of all, let me just start by saying I am doing this video today with no makeup because last weekend I did an update video for weeks 16 and 17, and I was wearing no makeup, but I was wearing no makeup and saying how insecure I felt and how ugly I felt, and today I'm wearing no makeup and I actually feel pretty good about myself. And it's just interesting how things can change, and it's not that this is a permanent change, but it's just saying I'm not always in that place, but it's a place that I go to often. And I'm hoping that with time I will be in the place that I'm at now most if not all of the time, versus being in the place that I was when I filmed the other video most if not all of the time. So I'm just posting this without makeup just to say and show that I'm in a different place this week, which is really awesome. It feels amazing. I had a great day and I'm excited to get into that a bit. So first of all, before I go into anything else, again, thank you all so much for subscribing. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking. It really means a lot to me. Especially thank you to those of you who have been helping me to get into that creative community that I really want to get into. Thank you so much. And if you're watching this, just thank you from the bottom of my heart. It really just means a lot to me. You are the best. Thank you. Okay, so weeks 14 through 18. I'm getting a little comfortable here. Weeks 14 through 18. There were definitely a couple weeks of struggles, but there was really great, amazing things in there too. And what I'm going to get into is how I got through that, and how I'm getting through that, and how my mind is actually transforming, and how I can see that just with these last 4 weeks. So what were the challenges of the last 4 weeks? Well, the challenges were really all mostly internal, a little bit triggered by external stuff, but mostly it was just that I was feeling like a total failure at life. I got really down on myself. I was just not feeling good about myself. I was feeling worthless. I was feeling ugly. I was feeling insecure. Just not good. The last couple weeks have been a struggle like that, which spilled into other areas of my life. I felt like I was failing at my job because I wasn't giving all the effort that I like to give. I'm working from home, so that should be so easy, and I'm so blessed to have that opportunity. But because I was feeling so down, it just made it hard for me to put my heart into anything, to put my energy into anything, and I really just got by doing the bare minimum. And that's not, I don't feel good about that, Before I kind of fell into this funk. And I feel like, to be fair, I've been in a funk for years, but it's there are funks within the funk. So yeah, before I fell into this funk, I felt like I was doing really great at work. I was giving 110%, 150%, I felt like I was doing work for 2 people. I felt like I was building something really great. And then once this hit me, and it was right at the end of a project that we just finished, and I was hired temporarily, short term, to work on that project, and then that project ended, but my contract got extended. So that was kind of another thing. It's just the insecurity of the work. My contract did get extended to December, which I'm very grateful for, because it kind of gave me a little bit more stability. But it's just uncertainty, and then it's okay, what now? What after this? And I've been kind of in this rat race and short-term work for a while, and it's been work that, while I definitely believe in it because I've been working with a lot of nonprofits that do a lot of great work that I think is very important, it hasn't been fulfilling to me personally, which is unfortunate because I believe in the work, so you would think that it would be, but for whatever reason it's just not. And I've been trying to move away from it and change fields for a while now, but I guess what's been holding me back is fear, and that's something else I'm going to talk about. But yeah, so that's another thing that was bringing me down this week. Felt like I wasn't doing that good at work, which I don't like. And then I I stopped making progress on my weight loss, which I don't want to go too much into because I feel like I talk about that a lot all the time, but I had hit a plateau, and then I think around week like 16 I got frustrated with that, so I just started drinking like protein shakes twice a day, and it worked. I lost weight. I got down to 182. I was very excited because it was almost 170. And then we went to Oktoberfest. I went to Oktoberfest with my boyfriend. I drank beer, I ate food, and then I feel like I can't go on a binge without like eating things I quote unquote shouldn't eat for at least a few days after. So like every time I go on a binge or every time I eat, I feel like I shouldn't have cheat meals, because you think it's just one meal, but then it's like you just get in the habit of eating that stuff again, or at least I do. And I like the idea of cheat meals, but like I said, once I have something, I just want more of it, and it takes me a couple of days to stop eating the things that I quote unquote shouldn't be eating, or to stop eating the things that are not going to help me lose weight, should I say. But I think I might have like a real food addiction, and I think that I've thought that for a while, but yeah, I use food to cope at the very least, and it's definitely a comfort kind of thing for me. So anyway, that's another thing I've been feeling down about. That's kind of my main goal I've been focusing on. I made progress. I got down to 182, and now I'm back up to 185. So, you know, it's not too bad. It could have been way worse. I honestly thought it was way worse. I thought I got back up to 190. I was so scared I wasn't going to step on the scale. And then yesterday I was like, whatever, let me just see. And it wasn't that bad, but still, you know, it's this delaying my progress even more. So those were all the things that I was kind of feeling down about, but the biggest thing was just feeling down about myself, right? It's not like these problems are so horrible or extraordinary or anything like that. Or like my money situation is like, it's not like it's the worst ever. It's just how I feel about myself. It's just the way that I think. It's the way my self-loathing, my self-hatred. That stuff's actually really dangerous, you know, when you think about it. I mean, that's the reason why people like actually literally kill themselves, you know, and it sucks. Because it's all perspective. It's all in your head. But it's not to say like that means it's easy to fix. It's actually really hard to, I don't want to say it's really hard to fix, but it's actually challenging. It is, it's very challenging. So that's what I'm working through, that's what I'm going through. And that's been why the last couple weeks have been kind of a struggle, and I haven't really posted too much because of that. And that's why the last video I made was how it was. So there's that. All that being said, good things did come out of it. There was definitely highlights during these last couple of weeks, and there was definitely things that I've realized, things that I learned, resources I stumbled across that have helped me, and that's what I want to share right now. Because as hard as it has been, I think I definitely have found some better coping mechanisms, or not even coping mechanisms, but things to help me process and things to help my brain refocus in a new direction. And so those things are, number one, Teal Swan. I just discovered Teal Swan. You're probably like, where have you been? Teal Swan's videos blew my mind. I just watched a couple more of her videos today, and they're just always so profound, because I watch a lot of law of attraction type videos, a lot of self-help type videos, a lot of personal development, change the way you think type of videos, and hers have such a unique perspective. They have such a unique message and actually make a hell of a lot of sense, and it helped me make sense of a couple things. So to get a little bit specific about that, oh man, there's just so much that I realized with Teal Swan's videos. I'll have to put some links in the description below of some of the most impactful videos that I watched from her. But I think one of the biggest takeaways that I got from her videos is you can't avoid contrast in your life. If you believe in the law of attraction, if you follow the law of attraction, contrast is basically a word that we use to describe unpleasant occurrences in our life. So things that you don't want to happen, things that suck, things that are inconvenient, things that hold you back. anything like that, we call it contrast. So what her videos helped me realize for the first time was that we can't outrun contrast, or we can't vibrate higher than contrast. And this was huge for me. This was so important because I feel almost like one of the goals in the law of attraction is to vibrate so high that everything just works out for you, that you attract only good into your life, that you attract only the things that you want, and there's no contrast in your life whatsoever. And it's not to say that law of attraction teachers have specifically said this, but I think it's almost implied, because they make it sound like if there's contrast in your life, it's because you're doing something wrong. It's because you're not vibrating high enough. You didn't vibrate in you didn't have the right vibration to attract what you wanted. But what Teal Swan said in one of her videos is that we come to this earth with a purpose. We come to this realm with a purpose. Our higher spirit knows that we have to grow in some sort of way or learn some sort of lesson. And those contrasts, these problems, these issues are what help us to learn that lesson, are what help us to grow in these capacities. And so our higher being actually sees these problems or these issues as gifts, that's why they don't see them as negative. We see them as negative, we resist them, we suffer over them, but our higher being knows that it's part of our growth. And it can be part of our growth when we don't resist them as much. So it's not to say that you have to see a problem. Okay, so it's not to say that you have to ignore your problems, and it's not to say that you have to pretend to be happy about your problems. It's not to say that you can't react, with sadness or anger or something to the issues that come up, but it's like the more sadness and anger that we give to these issues, the more we focus on them, the harder it is for us to move through them and beyond them and into our growth, because we just stay stuck on them versus going through them in order to grow, if that makes any sense at all. So I think I might make another more full video about this, but yeah, that was huge for me, and that helped me realize, like, okay, that doesn't mean that, if I'm struggling with this or I'm struggling with that, it's not because I'm not vibrating high enough. And I do think that I do need to work on my vibration. That's not to say that I don't need to work on my vibration. I definitely do, because I still vibrate a lot in the realm of shame and guilt and all the lower vibrations. But that's also to say that I can't out-vibrate issues. Like, they'll always be there. I just have to learn how to deal with them better, in the sense of, like, let go of them. Don't be so attached to issues. Don't suffer over things as much, and that's something that I think I have to learn how to do. So Teal Swan, that was huge. I'll put the links in the description below. Another thing that came from that was that I just started to allow more. I stopped beating up on myself as much. Well, from the last video that I posted, it didn't seem that way. I definitely had my low points, but I think I started to just accept things as they are, just to allow things to be as they are, to allow myself to be as and where I am without judging myself as much. And that's a process. I think I'm in the process of that. I'm definitely not like fully accepting or embracing or allowing myself in the position that I am right now. But I think I'm starting to shift towards that, because I had so much resistance. Like, I feel like I literally feel like I threw the last 10 years of my life away. And, I'm 28, gonna be 30 in a couple years. I feel like your 20s is when you have all this opportunity to, like, discover yourself and cultivate things and establish yourself so that you can really dig deep into your field or what you want to do in the world in your 30s, right? And that's all very, like, what's the word? That's all very ideal, but my lived reality is, I feel like I threw the last 10 years of my life away. I didn't do what I wanted to do. I'm not really sure what I did with my last 10 years. Don't get me wrong, there's things that I did, but I feel like none of those things are directions that I want to continue going in. I honestly, to be more specific, wished I had pursued music. I wish I was more advanced in some sort of instrument. I wish I had allowed myself to express myself more. I wish I had allowed myself to dress the way that I wanted to more, to look the way I wanted to more, took care of myself better, physically, mentally, emotionally. Wish that I had prioritized myself more, actually, in these last couple of years, instead of burning myself out and then coping with that in unhealthy ways and waking up one day thinking, how did I get here? You know? And so yeah, that being said, I feel like I've thrown all this away and I've had so much resistance about it. I have a lot of like emotional turmoil surrounding it, where I almost just want to give up and start over. Like, that's how I was feeling last weekend. I literally thought, I just want to start over. Like, that's why sometimes it's like, sounds really appealing to end this life, right? Because then it's like, oh, I'll get the opportunity to start over and I'll get it right next time, you know? Which is a kind of scary thought, I guess. But what pulls me out of that is like, no, be the proof. Like, be the proof that you can change. Be the proof that even if you feel like your life is totally not where you would want it to be, that it can change. Like, be evidence of that. That's kind of what pulls me out of thinking those things, is if I continue with this life, I can be living evidence that you can do whatever you set your mind to. I'm not the evidence right now, I don't think, but I can become that, you know? And so that's what I'm hoping for. But yeah, just accepting where I am right now, I think, is a huge part of that. Instead of being upset about where I am right now, resisting where I am right now, wishing that I was somewhere else, just like, this is where I am, you know what I mean? And just letting that be all right. Like, not even try to love it, not even try to, but just accepting it. That's the big thing. Acceptance is like release, you know? Because there's no tension there. It's just allowing it, and then everything can flow from there. And that's one of the other things that I've gotten out of the last couple weeks. Again, it's not perfect. I'm not always in that state, but I'm in that state definitely more than I was before, which is awesome. Third thing I got is I realized these last couple weeks that I'm in an extreme state of mental lack. And I never really realized the gravity of that before. I never really realized that I have a focus on lack. And it's not all the time. And I'm definitely grateful for a lot of things. I think I definitely focus on the positive in a lot of situations. But I think overall in my head, like my internal dialogue mostly, it's very focused on lack. And I realized that this week, and I keep catching myself. That's the crazy thing, is I guess I was never catching myself before, so it was like I was just tormenting myself and wasn't really realizing it. And then the last couple weeks I started catching it. I started catching it more. And I was happy about it. The crazy thing is I was happy about it. Like, oh, I'm in a state of lack right now. Like, I'd have a negative thought, or I'd have a thought that made me feel bad, and I was like, oh, this is a state of lack. And every time I would catch myself, I'd be happy, because it's like, I'm realizing it now. And when you realize it, you can refocus. And when you realize it, you can change it. But when you're doing things that you're not even aware of, or that you're not even catching yourself doing it while you're doing it, you can't really change it, you know? So I feel like this was a huge step for me, is starting to realize more, oh my gosh, I'm in a state of lack. I'm focusing on the negative. I'm focusing on what I don't have. I'm focusing on what I'm not. I'm focusing on what I'm afraid of, you know, instead of what I do have, what my opportunities are, what I'm really blessed for. I really am. Even, I was thinking the other day, I'm even blessed to have the problems that I have, you know what I mean? I really am. Because I could have a whole lot of worse problems. And I am very aware of that. I think the hard part is, one of my big problems, my really main only problem, is that I hate myself a lot of the times, and that makes me want to kill myself, which is, you know, a challenge for sure. And it's not any small challenge, because it has pretty major consequences. But that being said, I think my problems are still nice problems to have comparatively. So, you know, that's just another thing that I realized, and that I realized that I don't acknowledge enough, I guess. But realizing that I had a state of lack, that I'm constantly in a state of lack with what goes on in my head, was really helpful, because I could catch it now and I could shift it in the moment now. more so. And I think continuing to catch it, continuing to shift it is literally going to change my whole life. It's amazing. It just is. It's like pretty incredible. Now, the fourth thing that I got from this week that I realized is that I've let fear run and ruin my life. I shouldn't say ruin my life. My life's not ruined, but it could, continuing on this way could potentially ruin my life. And that's only because the more we let fear run us, the more we let fear make our decisions, the more we base what we do or don't do out of fear, the less we enjoy life, the less we live the life we want to live, the less we enjoy each moment. And our lives are really just comprised of moments. And that's another thing I realized is everything that happened before now really doesn't matter. Everything that's going to happen really doesn't matter. If we focus on the now, and I've heard this so much. I've heard this literally in almost every book that I've ever read on self-help or personal development, but I never really understood it. Like, I understood it intellectually and conceptually, but I never felt it. And like, I'm really starting to actually feel it and embody it now. And it's new for me. So I think that the more time goes on, then it will become easier, it will have a greater impact in my life, but it's just starting to take hold now. But I'm starting to understand that what we decide to do in this moment, focusing on this moment, we don't have power over what's going to happen tomorrow, right now. We don't have power over what's going to happen over the future. We have power over this moment right now. What are you going to decide to do now? That is going to shape your future for sure. But the only control you have over it is this moment and the decision you're going to make at this moment. How you're going to decide to respond to something that happened. How you're going to decide to take a risk. Are you going to decide to, pursue what you want, or are you going to let fear stop you? All these collective moments are what make up our lives, or what make up the future. So really learning to focus on now is also huge. And I've just realized that I let fear make most of my decisions. And that's why I haven't done the things that I want to do. And I've almost let it stop me from allowing myself to pursue those things even in the future. Because I would think things like, I'm too old, I'm too old to start playing music seriously again. I'm too old for this. I'm too old for that. I'm too old to be who I want to be. I'm too, and that is just fear. Who says? Literally, who says? And if they say, who are they? And why do they matter? Why do they control me? Why do they control my life? Who makes up these rules? They said I should go to college, and that didn't make me happy. They said I should go get a job with an organization or some corporation. That didn't make me happy. So who cares what quote unquote they say or society says, But I realized I let that stop me a lot. I let that influence me a lot. And that's not the person I want to be. I don't want to be influenced by that stuff, because I don't even believe in our society. I think our society is crap. So why would I let it influence me, But, easier said than done. I think it gets to many people. I think it gets to a lot of us. And I don't think we should beat ourselves up for it. I think we just have to figure out how to become our own compass and be our own guide, and allow ourselves to follow that guidance as often as possible. So those are the big things that I got out of the last couple weeks, and even though they were hard and I feel like I was in a really low place mentally and I was struggling with a lot mentally, I gained these really valuable insights, and those are helpful, and I feel like those are going to be absolutely instrumental in changing the trajectory of the rest of my life. So that's actually kind of amazing. Wow, this video is super long, but it was a lot. So another thing is I tried to get a loan over these last couple weeks, and I could not because my credit was so horrible. But if I can just bring my credit score up by 25 points, then I'll be able to get a consolidation loan in a couple months, which will really help me. So that's kind of my new financial goal, is just pay whatever minimal thing I could pay, and get that consolidation loan in a few months. That will really help me if I can bring up that score. So that's my new financial goal. I started interviewing people, and I'll put the links in the description below. I love these interviews. I gained so much wisdom from them. A lot of realizations and wisdom have come from those as well. and actually me wanting to pursue the things that make me happy again have also kind of directly stemmed from the wisdom I got from these interviews. So thank you so much to ECs, Ed, Bobby, and Anai for letting me interview you. So much appreciation. I love these interviews so much. Thank you. So yeah, that is pretty much what's been going on the last couple weeks. Thank you for watching this, if you watch this whole thing or listen to this whole thing. I know it was very long, but yeah, that's what's been going on. It's been a struggle, but good things have come from it. Growth has come from it, and that's all struggle is for. Struggle is there so that we can grow. That's the contrast. Contrast exists for our growth and really for our benefit, and it's not always easy to see it that way. It's not always easy to feel good about that or feel optimistic about that or feel like it's a good thing, but at the end of the day, we're all just here to grow. We're all just here so that the universe can experience itself, and it is what it is. Gotta go experience yourself, you know? So anyway, much love to y'all out there. I hope that you live your life to the most authentic version of yourself that you can. And if you don't know what that is, that you explore it and experience it. Experience you. Much love.